Hi, my name is Adriano Udani, and I'm an associate professor of political science at the University of Missouri St. Louis, the program director of the university's Public Policy Administration program, and also the research advisor of the Community Innovation and Action Center, the university's public-facing research center that focuses on community engagement and collaborations. I also humbly serve as a board member of IFCLA. I've been asked to talk about what excites me about IFCLA in 2022. IFCLA is one of the few organizations in Missouri, and I'd say the Midwest, that is directly addressing the concerning growth of asylum seekers being forcibly enrolled into its alternative to detention programs, particularly the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program, or ISAP. ISAP enrollees are shackled with ankle monitors with GPS capabilities. They are subjected to a cocktail of different ATD methods, including mandatory home visits, telephonic monitoring, check-ins at ISAP offices, and in other places of the United States, voice recognition software and radio frequency monitoring. ATD is part of a larger system that profits through invasive surveillance to other community members, extending digital and mobile jails that restrict free movement of people who are disproportionately Black and brown. While much attention has been given to the violent systems that coerce human movement, asylum seekers are unable to live their lives completely free of stigma, as well as perpetual surveillance and fear. So the question for us and for them becomes, how can we build strategies that focus on abolishing systems that coerce the freedom of movement, while also at the same time build new systems that uplift not only asylum seekers, but all people with lived experiences of coerced mobility. Now, over the last 2 years, IFCLA, in partnership with MICA and myself, have aimed to answer these important questions by partnering with asylum seekers from Mexico and Central America in a process that positions asylum seekers as leaders who will set the strategies for the rest of the community. Our asylum seeker colleagues have set a way to implement their ideas for immediate relief, as well as the long-term goal of abolishing detention. Our work is based on IFCLA's accompaniment program and uses a mutual assistance framework in which people with lived experiences of oppression organize to help each other and facilitate solidarity as a form of resistance, while also helping each other to survive the present and build a future without any forms of imprisonment. Since January 2019, we have recruited and partnered with asylum seekers who have expressed an interest in abolishing the use of ankle monitors. In November 2020, we held our first meeting with 8 people, but as of December 2021, our group has grown to 54 asylum seekers. And the average meeting attendance has been 25 people, and the recent recruitment has been currently led and supported by asylum seekers themselves, which is exciting. IFCLA, through its community partnerships that it's forged and maintained, has significantly altered the position of asylum seekers in producing public discourse on racism, abolition, as well as dignity in the social sciences and also humanities, as well as public policy and religious practice. In each monthly meeting, we offer the first hour for asylum seekers to share and discuss firsthand experiences, their fears, their emotions, their anger in dealing with immigration agents. Asylum seekers have shared endless examples of invasive questions and imperatives that are given to them. As one community organizer at IFCLA has said, only the asylum seekers know what's happening behind those closed doors, right? We can only stand with them and understand what they go through only so far. And so asylum seeker knowledge really helps shape the effectiveness of non-state actors, such as organizers, service providers, attorneys, researchers, to better understand these clandestine tactics of ICE, as well as its private contractors, in order to improve the quality of services needed by asylum seekers themselves. So facilitating these group support meetings with asylum seekers where they can discuss their fears and hopes, as well as stand with each other, is in of itself a form of resistance and fills a need in the community that has been long overlooked, at least in St. Louis and probably perhaps other places. Time is also dedicated in these meetings to provide a much needed space for asylum seekers to collectively imagine and also plan for a future without any forms of detention, including digital surveillance. So our group meetings have also become a safe place to provide spaces to imagine and also provide solutions on how to address these fears and concerns and adverse effects of ISAP and ATD. For many in the group, this is their first time meeting each other, and also meeting asylum seekers who have either worn or are currently wearing ankle monitors. Asylum seekers have reported feeling less anxious, more hopeful, and affirmed when they do get a chance to meet people who are dealing with similar forms of oppression. And so during this project and my work with IFCLA, I have witnessed 19 people who have actually self-advocated in front of an ICE officer to remove their ankle monitors. On multiple occasions, asylum seekers also decided to accompany each other to ICE and ISAP to advocate for their ankle monitor removals. And so overall, this form of asylum-led production of knowledge, that is what's making a difference. And that is what's making me excited for IFCLA in 2022. IFCLA will also gain nationwide recognition for this work soon. The Henry Luce Foundation has awarded a 3-year, $250,000 grant to IFCLA to take our local framework and train other local advocates and equitably support and pay asylum seekers as leaders and intellects to influence policy changes in their regions, including ending the abuse of harmful immigration surveillance tactics. So IFCLA's participation in co-producing knowledge here with asylum seekers matters. We're finding that our asylum seeker colleagues and partners are not only building courage, but they're also more informed how to self-advocate for themselves and others. I think at the most basic level, asylum seekers feel more equipped to face state actors after obtaining more information about ATD and also seeing their peers go through the same process. These are new outcomes that local grassroots advocacy groups and also immigrant legal service organizations have consistently voiced. And as COMPAs, asylum seekers have offered ways to build courage with each other, have created room to practice self-advocacy, and also practice the freedom of critical thinking. So to affirm and position asylum seekers as the movement leaders and intellects that they truly are, the IFCLA staff and their execution of the strategic plan is so crucial. And with that, I'd like to hand things off to for them to talk about themselves as well as the strategic plan for 2022. Thank you for your time and joining us today.